Hey everyone, so this is the intro to the maze series that I've been working on. I got through every single fight, most of them without items. The day after I release this video, I'm going to be releasing videos for nearly all the fights. A couple exclusions are going to be Guillotine, the Adaptoid fight, and the second Thanos. And for the reason for this is that I didn't get a good recording of them. Sometimes I wasn't even recording, and other times the fight was just really sloppy. For Guillotine, I did have to use a few revives because of the aspect of war. I'd recommend any champion that you're comfortable intercepting with, because that aspect of war is super tough. Sentry did pretty good for me. When I slipped up, he became indestructible, but sometimes she'd put the bleed on me. And Vision actually did okay too if I got into a rhythm intercepting on the wall, but I had to use a couple of revives on her. The Adaptoid, I haven't done him yet as of the time I'm making this video, but he can be cheesed with Ronin. Or you can completely negate that unstoppable with Captain America Infinity War. The Thanos number 2 that I'm excluding, he seems bugged. The aspect of Nightmare Phase, those projectiles all seem real. I can't seem to dodge those, so I'm going to have to muscle my way through that. But I have a few extra revives now that a few 22-hour solo events have come around, so I'm just going to use those on him. And I plan to get through the Adaptoid path, and I'll go through Thanos number 1 again and hopefully solo him. So those are the exclusions, but everything else I was able to do. I pretty much am looking at a total of 7 revives for the entire event. I got into the maze. I entered the maze about 100 times in total, and if I entered 100 times, I backed out 96 times. I only completed the paths 4 times. I only went through the event the bare minimum amount of times. Every other time, I just backed out. Even sometimes I would get to the final boss, the champion, and if I died on the champion, I died on the champion, and I would back out and start the entire path over again. I refused to try and use units on this. Any 22-hour event revives, 20% revives I got, those were fair game, but I only wanted to spend those on fights that I knew I was not going to be able to solo, right? I knew I could solo most of these fights. There was a couple like the Guillotine one, I knew I probably would take more than a reasonable number of attempts to try and solo it, so I thought, I'll just use a couple of revives here. So I love the fact that it's kind of a choose your own adventure. You kind of have 4 different paths, but you can crisscross all over the place. You can build a perfect team. I thought it was really fun team building and choosing a path like super deliberately to have a specific counter for every fight on that path. For example, like the Iceman, he puts that cold snap on you, so I really wanted to bring an immune champ for that. And I thought Corvus Glaive, but I thought he'd be really weak if I didn't build up some charges, so I brought Corvus to finish off Proxima's work in the Iron Man Infinity War fight, and was able to pick up 2 to 3 charges depending on which attempt it was in the Iceman fight. So that was really cool, and if I plan to use Symbiote Sentry on the Symbiote Supreme, I thought it was worth it to build up the Reality Warps before that fight, so I'd use Sentry on the Korg. Yeah, overall, I thought the maze was great. I had a great time in it. It was frustrating at times, but I can't remember really having this much fun with a piece of content since the Road to the Labyrinth. The rewards are not anything to spend over, and I think that actually made the challenge more fun. With amazing rewards, I feel sometimes obligated to spend in order to complete the content in time, spend my units that is, or risk missing out on those rewards. Sometimes the risk of missing out on the rewards is so big that you feel like your units are worth spending in order to get them. With this challenge, I was actually prepared to lose those rewards if I couldn't complete it with the revives I was getting daily from the 22-hour events. And being prepared to miss out on those rewards forced me to challenge myself to get through without items, and ultimately I think it made me play better. I was taking on fights, going in with like 30% health, sometimes going in with like 2% health, and just doing as much damage as I could, and sometimes pulling out clutch moves, like sometimes just doing just enough damage to get to the next fight and make it out alive. Now, it's definitely not for everyone. This is some pretty high-level stuff, and I think the best use of this is as practice. There's some top tier defenders like Korg that are only like 6 or 7 energy away from the start, and I think I fought that Korg maybe 15, 20 times by now, and I feel so much more comfortable with fighting the champion like that, and I think in general that's what this maze should be used for. The rewards, getting a tier 2 alpha, yes, that's great. But to be honest, if you're able to complete this challenge, you probably don't need the tier 2 alpha that desperately. So overall, guys, just keep a lookout for all these fights. I'm going to be posting probably, I don't know, about how many champions are there? About 20 fights maybe, and they'll all just go up on the same day. So it might seem like a little bit of spam, but I figured it'd be kind of cool to release it sort of Netflix style all at once. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and hope you enjoy it. Take care.